The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, broken only by the twinkling of distant stars. Among these celestial bodies, a sleek, silver ship glided silently. Its smooth surface reflected the starlight, making it almost invisible against the backdrop of space. This was no ordinary vessel. It was a scout ship of the mighty Galactic Empire, tasked with mapping and assessing new worlds for potential conquest. Inside the ship, Commander Zach 7 peered intently at the holographic display before him. His four eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of excitement in his species. "Interesting," he muttered, his voice a low hum. "Very interesting indeed." His second-in-command, Officer Vreen, glided over on her tentacles. "What have you found, Commander?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. Zach 7 gestured to the blue and green planet rotating slowly on the display. "A new world, Vreen. And if our initial scans are correct, it's teeming with life." Vreen's tentacles curled in anticipation. "Intelligent life." "Possibly," Zach 7 replied. "But primitive. They've barely left their own atmosphere. Easy pickings for the Empire." As they watched, the scan zoomed in, revealing sprawling cities, vast oceans, and lush forests. The planet was a jewel, rich in resources and ripe for the taking. Zach 7 felt a surge of pride. This discovery would surely earn him a promotion. "Prepare a report for High Command," he ordered. "We may have just found the Empire's newest acquisition." Little did Zach 7 know, but the planet he was so casually considering for conquest was Earth, home to a species that would soon shake the very foundations of the Galactic Empire. On Earth, in a top-secret facility buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, alarms blared. Dr. Sarah Chen, head of Earth's Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, EDI, rushed into the control room. "Talk to me, people," she shouted over the chaos. "What are we looking at?" A young technician, his face pale, looked up from his console. "Ma'am, we've detected an alien ship in orbit. It's scanning us." Sarah's heart raced, but her voice remained calm. "Initiate first contact protocol. And someone get the president on the line. It's time." As the facility buzzed with activity, Sarah couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and excitement. Humanity had long prepared for this moment, but now that it was here, it felt surreal. Within hours, world leaders had convened in an emergency session. The revelation of alien life was both thrilling and terrifying. But thanks to the EDI's preparations, Earth was not caught entirely off guard. "We need to respond," the U.S. President said, her voice firm. "Show them we're not as primitive as they might think." Sarah nodded. "We've prepared for this. Our quantum entanglement communicator should be able to reach their ship. We can send a message." The leaders debated furiously about what this message should be. Some advocated for peace, others for a show of strength. In the end, they settled on a simple yet powerful statement. Back on the Imperial scout ship, Zach 7 was preparing to leave the system when suddenly, his communication panel lit up. "Impossible," he muttered, his four eyes widening in shock. A message, clear and crisp, came through. "To the alien vessel in orbit. We, the people of Earth, acknowledge your presence. We extend greetings, but we also offer a warning. We are not as helpless as we may appear. If your intentions are peaceful, we welcome the opportunity for dialogue. If not, we strongly advise you to leave. This is not a threat, but a courtesy. We have faced our own kind in countless wars and emerged stronger each time. We've split the atom, unraveled the genome, and taken our first steps into space. We are humanity, and we are just getting started. So we say this with utmost sincerity. If you're here to conquer, run while you still can." Zach 7 stared at the message, then at Vreen, then back at the message. For the first time in his long career, he felt a flicker of uncertainty. These creatures, these humans, were full of surprises. "What should we do, Commander?" Vreen asked, her voice quavering slightly. Zach 7 straightened his posture, pushing down his doubts. "We inform High Command, of course. The Empire fears no one, especially not some primitive species making empty threats." As the scout ship turned and sped away from Earth, Zack 7 couldn't shake a nagging feeling. Had they just awoken a sleeping giant? Only time would tell, and the stars themselves would bear witness to the answer. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Empire's High Command buzzed with excitement. Hundreds of alien dignitaries from across the Empire had gathered to hear the news of a potential new conquest. The massive chamber, with its high arched ceilings and gleaming metal walls, practically hummed with anticipation. At the center of it all stood Emperor Zorn, a towering figure with iridescent scales and piercing yellow eyes. His voice, amplified by hidden speakers, filled the room. "My loyal subjects," he began, his words dripping with confidence, "today marks the beginning of a new era for our glorious empire." A holographic display flickered to life, showing a blue and green planet spinning slowly. "Earth. Behold," Zorn continued, "our newest target, a primitive world, ripe for the taking. Its inhabitants, while numerous, are technologically inferior. They call themselves humans." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some leaned forward, intrigued. Others chittered excitedly among themselves. Commander Zack 7 stepped forward, his earlier doubts buried deep beneath a mask of loyal enthusiasm. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing low, "the humans did manage to send us a message. They warned us to run." For a moment, silence fell over the hall. Then, unexpectedly, Emperor Zorn threw back his head and laughed. The sound was like grinding metal, harsh and grating. Soon, the entire assembly joined in, their various forms of laughter creating a cacophony of noise. "Warn us," Zorn said, wiping a tear from one of his eyes. "How quaint, how utterly amusing. These humans have spirit, I'll give them that. But spirit alone won't save them from the might of our empire." The Emperor's words were met with thunderous applause. Zack 7 felt a wave of relief wash over him. His concerns about the humans' warning seemed foolish now, in the face of such overwhelming confidence. "Prepare the invasion fleet," Zorn roared, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "We'll show these humans what true power looks like." Back on Earth, in the underground facility of the Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, Dr. Sarah Chen paced nervously. It had been weeks since they'd sent their message to the alien ship, and the silence that followed was deafening. "Any updates?" she asked, turning to her team of scientists and military personnel. A young lieutenant shook his head. "Nothing on our long-range scanners, Dr. Chen. It's like they vanished." Sarah frowned. She knew better than to hope the aliens had simply given up. No, they were planning something. She could feel it in her bones. "Double-check everything," she ordered. "I want our defenses at maximum readiness, and get me a line to the President. We need to accelerate our preparations." As her team scrambled to follow her orders, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. Humanity had faced many challenges throughout its history, but nothing like this. They were about to go up against an enemy from beyond the stars, with technology far beyond their own. But they had one advantage: the element of surprise. The aliens thought them primitive, easy prey. They had no idea what humanity was truly capable of. In the depths of space, the Galactic Empire's invasion fleet assembled. Thousands of ships, from massive dreadnoughts to nimble fighters, formed up in perfect formation. At the head of the fleet was the Emperor's personal flagship, a behemoth of a vessel that dwarfed all others. On the bridge, Emperor Zorn gazed out at his armada, a smug smile playing on his lips. "Look at them," he said to no one in particular. "Soon, they will darken the skies of Earth. Those pitiful humans won't know what hit them." Commander Zack 7, standing at attention nearby, nodded in agreement. But deep down, a tiny seed of doubt remained. The human's warning echoed in his mind. "Run while you still can." As the fleet began its journey towards Earth, Zack 7 pushed the thought aside. After all, What could one primitive planet possibly do against the might of the Galactic Empire? Little did they know, Earth was far from helpless. As the invasion fleet hurtled through space, humanity was preparing a welcome that would shake the very foundations of the Empire. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change the course of galactic history forever. The Empire's hubris would soon meet humanity's indomitable spirit, and the universe would never be the same. The vast emptiness of space was suddenly filled with a dazzling array of lights as the Galactic Empire's invasion fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's orbit. Thousands of ships, from massive dreadnoughts to swarms of fighters, spread out in an awe-inspiring display of military might. On the bridge of the flagship, Emperor Zorn grinned, his sharp teeth glinting in the artificial light. "Behold," he said, his voice filled with pride, "the moment of our triumph." Commander Zach 7 stood nearby, his 4 eyes fixed on the blue-green planet before them. It looked so small, so fragile. Surely, he thought, this would be a quick and easy victory. "Your Majesty," Zach 7 said, "shall we begin the invasion?" Zorn nodded, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Commence the attack. Show these primitives the true power of the Galactic Empire." As the first wave of ships began their descent towards Earth's atmosphere, alarms blared in the underground bunker of the Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative. Dr. Sarah Chen burst into the control room, her face a mask of determination. "Status report," she barked. "Massive alien fleet detected in orbit, Dr. Chen." A technician shouted. "They're beginning their approach." Sarah took a deep breath. This was the moment they had prepared for. "Initiate Operation Thunderbolt," she ordered, her voice steadied despite the gravity of the situation. Across the globe, hidden installations whirred to life. In the depths of oceans, beneath desert sands, and high in mountain ranges, advanced weapon systems, secretly developed using reverse-engineered alien technology, powered up. As the first Imperial ships entered Earth's atmosphere, expecting an easy victory, they were met with a shocking surprise. Beams of energy, more powerful than anything the Empire had encountered before, lanced up from the planet's surface. On the flagship, Emperor Zorn watched in disbelief as dozens of his ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. "What is happening?" he roared, his earlier confidence shattered. Zach 7 stared at the tactical displays, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. "Impossible," he muttered. "Their weapons, they're as advanced as our own." The battle raged on, with Imperial ships frantically trying to locate and destroy the hidden Earth defenses. But the humans, using their intimate knowledge of their home planet, stayed one step ahead. From secret underwater bases, Earth's own spacecraft emerged, smaller than the Imperial ships but incredibly agile. They darted between the larger alien vessels, causing chaos and confusion. In low Earth orbit, dormant satellites suddenly came to life, revealing themselves to be automated defense platforms. They fired salvos of missiles at the unprepared Imperial fleet, adding to the mayhem. Emperor Zorn's face contorted with rage as reports of mounting losses flooded in. "How?" he screamed. "How can these primitives be defeating us?" On Earth, in cities around the world, people watched the sky with a mixture of fear and hope. Streaks of light and distant explosions lit up the night, a terrifying yet awe-inspiring celestial battle. In the EDI bunker, Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she watched the tactical displays. "That's it," she murmured. "Just like we planned. Let's show these invaders what humanity is really capable of." The tide of battle had shifted. The once mighty Imperial fleet, caught off guard by Earth's unexpected level of technology and the humans' ingenious tactics, found itself in disarray. As the first day of battle drew to a close, the Galactic Empire had suffered heavy losses. Nearly a third of their invasion force had been destroyed or disabled, with minimal damage to Earth's defenses. In the Imperial flagship, a shocked silence had fallen over the bridge. Emperor Zorn, his earlier bravado gone, slumped in his command chair. "How could we have underestimated them so badly?" he whispered. Commander Zach 7, watching the ongoing battle with a mix of fear and grudging admiration, remembered the humans' warning. Run while you still can. For the first time, he wondered if perhaps they should have heeded that advice. As night fell on Earth, its inhabitants celebrated their first victory. But Sarah Chen and her team knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Empire had been bloodied, but not defeated. The real war was only just beginning, and humanity would need every ounce of its ingenuity, courage, and determination to survive. The battle for Earth had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The sun rose over a changed Earth. Smoke from the previous day's battle still lingered in the air, and debris from destroyed alien ships dotted the landscape. But humanity had survived the first wave, and now it was time to push back. In the underground labs of the Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, EDI, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a group of the world's brightest minds. Scientists, engineers, and military strategists from every corner of the globe had gathered here, united in their mission to save humanity. Yesterday, we showed the Empire that we're not as helpless as they thought. Sarah began, her voice filled with determination. Today, we show them what human ingenuity can really do. She gestured to a holographic display, showing the remnants of an alien ship. We've recovered technology from the downed enemy vessels. Our job now is to understand it, improve it, and turn it against them. The room buzzed with excitement. Humans had always been adaptable, but now, faced with the greatest threat in their history, that adaptability would be pushed to its limits. Teams were quickly formed, each tackling a different aspect of the alien technology. In one corner, physicists pored over the Empire's faster-than-light drive, seeking to unravel its secrets. In another, weapons specialists examined the alien energy weapons, looking for weaknesses to exploit and improvements to make. Days passed in a blur of activity. Sleep was a luxury few could afford, but the thrill of discovery kept them going. Breakthroughs came one after another, each more exciting than the last. Dr. Aisha Patel, a brilliant young engineer, made the first major breakthrough. She managed to reverse engineer the Empire's energy shields and improve them. "Look at this," she said, demonstrating her invention to Sarah. A shimmering field of energy appeared, far more stable and efficient than the original alien version. Meanwhile, in a heavily guarded hangar, test pilot Jake Martinez climbed into the cockpit of Earth's newest weapon, a fighter craft that combined human design with salvaged alien tech. As he fired up the engines, a grin spread across his face. "Oh yeah," he muttered, "this is gonna be fun." Up in orbit, the remnants of the Imperial fleet regrouped. Emperor Zorn, his confidence shaken but not broken, planned for a second assault. "We underestimated them once," he growled to his commanders. "We won't make that mistake again." But even as the Empire prepared, humanity was changing the rules of the game. In labs and workshops around the world, new weapons and defenses were being created at an astonishing pace. Dr. Chen received updates from around the globe. A team in Tokyo had developed a virus capable of infiltrating and disrupting alien computer systems. In Rio de Janeiro, scientists had cracked the code of the Empire's communication networks, and in a secret facility beneath the Sahara, a new type of missile was being prepared, one that could track and destroy Imperial ships, even through their advanced cloaking technology. As the days turned to weeks, the balance of power slowly shifted. The Empire's attempts to launch further attacks were met with increasingly sophisticated defenses. Each failed assault provided more technology for humans to study and improve upon. Emperor Zorn watched in growing horror as his supposedly inferior opponents not only held their ground but began to push back. "How?" he demanded of his scientists. "How are they adapting so quickly?" The answer, of course, was simple. This was humanity at its best. Faced with extinction, the people of Earth had united as never before. Old rivalries were set aside, resources were pooled, and the brightest minds from every nation worked together towards a common goal. In the EDI Command Center, Sarah allowed herself a moment of pride as she looked at the latest reports. Earth's first space fleet was nearly ready, built with a combination of human innovation and adapted alien technology. Soon, they would take the fight to the Empire. As she watched the bustle of activity around her, Sarah thought back to the warning they had sent to the alien scout ship so long ago. "We told them to run," she mused. "Soon, they'll wish they had listened." The stage was set for humanity's counterattack. The Galactic Empire had come expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, and now they would face the full force of human ingenuity unleashed. The starry expanse of space, once a realm of mystery and wonder for humanity, had become a battlefield. But today, the tides of war were about to turn. Earth's first interstellar fleet hung in low orbit, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. Sleek ships, born from a fusion of terrestrial innovation and reverse-engineered alien technology, gleamed in the sunlight. At the head of the fleet was the flagship Hope, a massive vessel that dwarfed even the largest of humanity's pre-war spacecraft. On the bridge of the Hope, Admiral Jana Rodriguez stood tall, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. Around her, a diverse crew of Earth's finest worked at their stations, a mix of tension and excitement in the air. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her second-in-command announced. Jana nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Then it's time. Signal all vessels. Operation Slingshot is a go." As one, Earth's fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives. In a dazzling display of light, they vanished from Earth's orbit, leaving behind a planet holding its collective breath. Light years away, on a key Imperial stronghold planet, alarms blared. The Galactic Empire had grown complacent, believing Earth to be contained and on the defensive. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Earth's fleet dropped out of FTL on the edge of the system. Before the Imperial forces could react, waves of advanced fighter craft launched from the larger ships. Leading the charge was Jake Martinez, the test pilot turned squadron leader. "Remember the plan. Terran wings." Jake's voice crackled over the comm. "Hit hard, hit fast, and don't let up." The human fighters swarmed towards the Imperial defenses. Their speed and maneuverability caught the aliens off guard. Energy weapons, more advanced than anything the Empire had seen before, tore through their shields. On the planet's surface, pandemonium reigned. Imperial commanders, used to being the invaders, now found themselves under attack. Frantic distress calls were sent out, pleading for reinforcements. Admiral Rodriguez watched the battle unfold from the Hope. "Launch the ground assault," she ordered. Dropships peeled away from the fleet, heading for the planet's surface. Among them was a special ops team led by Dr. Sarah Chen, now a field commander. As Sarah's ship entered the atmosphere, she couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. From desperate defenders to bold attackers, humanity had come so far in so little time. The dropship landed with a thud, and Sarah led her team out. Their mission: to capture the Imperial data center and gather crucial intelligence on the Empire's operations. "Remember," Sarah said to her team as they approached the facility, "we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every species the Empire has ever oppressed." Inside the Imperial Command Center, chaos reigned. Governor Xalax, the planet's ruler, watched in horror as his defenses crumbled. "Impossible," he muttered, his 4 eyes wide with disbelief. "They were primitives. How could they?" His thoughts were interrupted as the door to the command center exploded inward. Sarah and her team stormed in, advanced weapons at the ready. "Governor Xalax," Sarah announced, her voice firm, "in the name of Earth and all free peoples of the galaxy, you are hereby relieved of your command." As the dust settled, news of the human victory spread across the stars like wildfire. Planets that had long suffered under Imperial rule began to whisper of rebellion. The once mighty Galactic Empire, for the first time in centuries, felt fear. Back on the Hope, Admiral Rodriguez received Sarah's confirmation of the mission's success. She allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before turning to her crew. "Well done, everyone. But this is just the beginning. Set course for the next target." As Earth's fleet prepared to jump to their next destination, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. Humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had proven themselves a force to be reckoned with. In his opulent palace on the imperial capital world, Emperor Zorn received the news of the defeat, his face contorted with rage and disbelief. "Amass the fleet," he snarled to his trembling advisors. "We will crush these humans once and for all." But deep down, a feeling he had long forgotten began to stir: doubt. The warning Earth had given so long ago echoed in his mind. "Run while you still can." For the first time, Emperor Zorn wondered if perhaps he should have listened. The counterattack had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The grand halls of the Imperial Palace, once a symbol of unquestioned power, now echoed with the sounds of frantic activity. Emperor Zorn paced nervously, his scales dulled with stress, as reports of rebellion poured in from across the galaxy. "Another system lost, Your Majesty," a trembling advisor announced. "The humans, they're not just fighting us. They're freeing our subjugated worlds." Zorn's eyes narrowed. How? How are these upstart primitives dismantling centuries of imperial rule? The answer, of course, lay in humanity's unique approach. Unlike the Empire, which ruled through fear and oppression, the humans offered hope and alliance to the worlds they liberated. Across the galaxy, on a planet long crushed under the Empire's heel, a scene of jubilation unfolded. Crowds of alien beings, of all shapes and sizes, cheered as human ships descended from the sky. Among them was Sarah Chen, now a symbol of Earth's commitment to galactic freedom. As Sarah stepped off her ship, a small alien child approached her, offering a strange, glowing flower. Sarah knelt down, accepting the gift with a smile. "We're here to help," she said, her words translated by advanced tech. "Together, we'll build a better galaxy." Meanwhile, aboard the flagship Hope, Admiral Rodriguez coordinated the ever-expanding rebellion. Holographic displays showed the progress of the Liberation Fleet, a mix of human ships and vessels from newly freed worlds. "Admiral," her AI assistant chimed, "we're receiving transmissions from previously unexplored sectors. It seems news of our victories has spread. More species are reaching out, asking to join our alliance." Rodriguez nodded, a mix of pride and determination on her face. "Send them our coordinates. The more united we stand, the stronger we'll be against the Empire." Back on Earth, the planet that had once been the Empire's target was now the heart of a growing galactic alliance. In the rebuilt cities, aliens walked freely among humans, exchanging knowledge and culture. The spirit of cooperation that had saved Earth now spread to the stars. In the EDI headquarters, now a bustling center of interspecies collaboration, Jake Martinez guided a group of alien pilots through a simulator. "The key is adaptability," he explained. "That's humanity's greatest strength, and now it's yours too." As the rebellion grew, the Empire's grip on power weakened. Imperial ships, once the terror of the galaxy, now found themselves outmatched by the combined fleets of Earth and its allies. One by one, the Empire's strongholds fell. On a distant mining world, the latest battle rage. Human ships flew alongside vessels of a dozen alien designs, their combined firepower overwhelming the Imperial defenses. On the ground, a joint force of human and alien troops stormed the Imperial base. Leading the charge was a young human soldier, Maria Gonzalez, fighting side by side with a towering, four-armed alien warrior. As they breached the base's defenses, Maria turned to her ally. "For freedom," she said. The alien nodded, its eyes gleaming. "For a better future," it replied in its native tongue, the meaning clear despite the language barrier. As news of yet another victory reached the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zorn's composure finally broke. "Evacuate," he ordered, his voice trembling. We must retreat to our last stronghold." The once mighty ruler of the galaxy fled, leaving behind the trappings of power he had clung to for so long. As his ship sped away from the capital, Zorn couldn't help but remember the humans' warning, given so long ago. They had told him to run, and now, too late, he finally was. Across the liberated worlds, celebrations erupted. Species that had been enemies under imperial rule now found common ground in their newfound freedom. And at the center of it all was humanity, the unexpected champions who had sparked a revolution. In the EDI Command Center, Sarah Chen and Admiral Rodriguez watched the latest reports with a mix of joy and solemnity. "We've almost won," Sarah said quietly, "but the real challenge is just beginning." Rodriguez nodded. "Building a free galaxy will be harder than defeating the Empire. But if any species can lead the way, it's humanity." As the Empire crumbled, a new era dawned. The galaxy, for so long trapped under the boot of imperial rule, took its first breath of freedom. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive, now stood at the forefront of a grand alliance, ready to forge a brighter future for all. The Grand Assembly Hall on Earth buzzed with excitement. Representatives from hundreds of alien species, once oppressed by the Galactic Empire, now gathered in peace. The hall itself was a marvel, its architecture blending styles from across the galaxy, a symbol of the new era of cooperation. At the center of it all stood Sarah Chen, now serving as Earth's ambassador to the newly formed Galactic Federation. Beside her was Admiral Rodriguez, her uniform adorned with symbols of both human and alien origins. "Friends, allies, fellow survivors," Sarah began, her voice carrying across the hall. "Today, we mark not just the fall of an empire, but the birth of a new age." The crowd cheered, a cacophony of sounds from various species filling the air. Sarah smiled, remembering the long journey that had brought them here. In the years since the Empire's defeat, the galaxy had undergone a remarkable transformation. Worlds once stripped bare by imperial mining now flourished under sustainable practices learned from Earth. Trade routes, previously controlled by corrupt imperial officials, now flowed freely, spreading prosperity across the stars. But it hadn't all been easy. Sarah thought back to the challenges they'd faced. There had been the remnants of the Empire to deal with, fanatics who refused to accept the new order. She remembered the tense standoff at Omega Centauri, where Jake Martinez had led a daring mission to prevent former imperial loyalists from detonating a superweapon. Then there were the cultural clashes, hundreds of species, each with their own customs and beliefs, learning to work together. Sarah smiled, recalling the first Galactic Cultural Exchange Festival, where humans had tried alien cuisines that defied the laws of Earth physics. Even now, as she stood before the assembly, Sarah knew there were still challenges ahead. But she also knew that together, they could overcome anything. "We stand here today," Sarah continued, "not as conquerors, but as equals, each of us bringing our unique strengths to build a better future for all." In the audience, an array of beings listened intently. There was Cthal, the four-armed warrior who had fought alongside Maria Gonzalez, now serving as a bridge between his people and the Federation. Nearby sat Dr. Aisha Patel, her engineering genius now focused on developing technology to heal worlds ravaged by imperial exploitation. As Sarah spoke, holographic displays around the hall showed scenes from across the galaxy. New cities rising on once barren worlds, fleets of ships bearing the flags of 100 nations, working together to explore uncharted space. Schools where children of different species learned side by side. "We faced extinction," Sarah said, her voice growing passionate, "and instead found our place among the stars. We were attacked, and in defending ourselves, we discovered strength we never knew we had." The crowd murmured in agreement. Many of them had their own stories of resistance, of fighting alongside the humans who had sparked a revolution. "But our greatest victory," Sarah continued, "wasn't defeating the Empire. It was in proving that there's a better way. That diversity isn't a weakness, but our greatest strength." As she spoke, news came in from the farthest reaches of known space. The last imperial stronghold, hidden in a distant nebula, had finally surrendered. Emperor Zorn, once the most powerful being in the galaxy, now stood trial for his crimes. Sarah's speech reached its conclusion. "We told them to run," she said, a hint of pride in her voice. "They didn't listen. But in their arrogance, they gave us the greatest gift of all. The chance to unite, to grow, to become more than we ever dreamed possible." As the assembly erupted in applause, Sarah looked out over the sea of faces, human and alien alike. She thought of the long journey, from that first warning sent to an alien scout ship to this moment of galactic unity. The newly elected president of the Galactic Federation, a being of living crystal from a world at the galaxy's edge, stepped forward. "Ambassador Chen," it chimed, its voice like tinkling bells. "On behalf of all free peoples, we thank humanity. You showed us the way. Now let us walk the path to the future together." As cheers filled the hall once more, Sarah felt a sense of both accomplishment and anticipation. The age of the Empire was over. A new chapter in galactic history was beginning, with humanity and its allies ready to face whatever challenges the universe might bring. The stars, once a battlefield, now beckoned with the promise of endless possibilities, and humanity, no longer alone, stood ready to embrace them all.